Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all. That song had a way longer outro than I expected. It's just kind of kept going and going and going and going, but I do still enjoy. Oh shoot, I can't remember. Rangelinus' music. That's perfect for streams. But yeah, welcome back to Let Us Play. Santiago, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Glad to have you here. So today we're going to be diving back into Chants of Sennaar. So last time we managed to solve the language of the warriors, and now we're at the language of the bards, which is proving interesting. So let's get back into it. And immediately wonder why the audio isn't working. One moment. Don't we love technology? It must be warmer, no jacket. Yeah, it's getting nice. It's good spring weather here. There we go. Only got 2 hours in. Stopped just at the beginning of the warriors so far. Hey, that's good progress. So yeah, we were here. I think we read this already. Free person, free persons of the abbey something. The men of the fortress, so the warriors. The men of the abbey are free. Actually, hold on. Oh, I don't have a key puzzle piece. Yes, there's a squiggle. That might mean water. I'm going to write that in as water for now. Nope. Ah. Nope. Getting all my buttons mixed up. Warrer. No. Now I can't type. Finish this pouch. Nice. Do some knitting. This is a good cozy game to do some knitting too. I think we came from here. If we're thinking that first one's road, maybe that next one is up. So road up would be stairs. You like playing the game and finding a journal page using the icon to represent one word. Playing just a few hours before I went off to celebrate that icon's feast. Nice. Road to something. Let's see where this is. So that's... I feel like I'm going in circles. Help. How do I get to the above? These bards have trapped me in their complex sewer system. Jump good? I can't jump good. Look at this rope. You think you can jump in a rope like this? I will tell you, as someone who wears robes a lot, you cannot jump in a robe. How you doing, Gale? Good to see you. I am so thoroughly lost. I'm going to try the left-hand rule. If we just stick to the left-hand side, eventually we will find a way out. Or a lever. That works too. Let's see, where does this boat take us? Hey, Erky, good to see ya. Which community is this one? We call this... I've been calling this one the Bards because that's what I've heard other people refer to them as. But I think maybe artists might be appropriate, or anything along those lines. They appear to be a class that lives quite leisurely upon the tower. Is that a boat quopter? Yes, it is. Victor Hammock Slam is going to be driving it. Yeah, I love the color. I love the aesthetic of this game. Like, each area is very simple, but feels very different. Oh, I don't remember being here before. Something plural, me plural, so us. We are... Maybe that's happy? Or drunk? Inebriated? You vote happy drunk? They are... Well, it has to be something plural, so maybe drunk doesn't quite make sense. I don't have a blank... Oh, I do have a blank page yet. Shoot. It's been 2 weeks. I don't remember what things are. Bannock. So each of... So there's different languages. This is the first one we started on, very sort of pictographic. This is the second one, bit more complicated pictograms. And now we're on this one, which is kind of in like a Hindi Arabic style. And there's that semicolon piece again. That means something. Can't go in that way. No. I want you to look at the thing on the wall. Maybe that's not water. Maybe that's chosen. Because that's kind of a repeated theme, is that like you have to be part of the chosen class to get to the next level. There is deeper meaning in that. Ooh. Something shattered to help. Okay, so this is a compass direction. This is compass directions. So given the decorations, I'm going to say this one is north. Nope. Wrong button. Which would mean that this squiggly one is east because of its origin. Wonder if I can chat using just movie lines. You probably could. So the dot underneath is depicting a direction. So this is probably not water, but probably another direction like south or west. Yeah, because look, these, well, it's a location. It's not water. Because the dot underneath is a location, because we already know Abbey and Fortress, and they have a dot. I learned how to knit once in elementary school, but that was many years ago. But yeah, Nana Kit does lots of various arts and crafts with needle points and knitting and crochet. I was interested to learn how some of the devotee words like room with X being an X in a box around it and cemetery and dead with a box around it. Yeah, it's simple, but you know, it's, so you have the first symbol here, this like L is person. You put this diamond next to it, becomes devotee. You put the diamond in the box and it becomes church. Yeah, weaving is cool, but does look expensive. Ooh. Hello, tower. Abbey. Fortress. That's a depiction of this tower. Yes. Something... We are seeking something, yes. Your days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle. It's a good one from Job. Job has a lot of great lines. Well, that looks like a key. That looks like a prophecy. That looks like us. You know, I'm wondering if this double dot, this colon, you need to buy bias tape and matching threads so you can start it on this dress. I don't know what bias tape is. But I'm beginning to wonder if this semicolon is a question mark. It's kind of like Spanish where there's a question mark at the beginning and end of each sentence. It's tape but with opinions. Fair enough, fair enough. You want to go up? Something... Maybe that has to mean chosen. Oh, we have words. These are not the words I was expecting. So we have theater, windmill, road. So we have road. Bias tape is for securing bare edge fabric. Thick neck holes and armholes. Oh, okay. So we have some locations because of the dots. So 3 of these need to be used.
Oh.
You want to go up? Something road. Follow the road? Something we plural. Oh, you're saying lots of things, and I don't know what they mean. What's down here? Oh, hey, that's one of the artist studios we saw down below. Oh, we have to do some timing here. Ow, I just broke my ankles. Yeah, look at the little hop this dude does. Like, that's the best hopping you're gonna get in a robe. Oh, you're saying lots of things I don't get them. Yeah, that would describe me listening to you about accounting. You sound very knowledgeable on it, so I believe you. I got nothing. Ooh, hey, we need this. My thingamabob now.
Oh.
Climb, dice, fire? I have so many unfigured out words. Did you find... Maybe that's key? That makes sense. This looks like an aleph in Hebrew. How am I supposed to leave? Oh, I have to give him the key. Uh-huh. Oh, why are you laughing? That... Oh, no, you're all laughing. I'm scared now. I want to go this way back to the gazebo. But first, actually... No, let's use the key. We have the key. Hey, late to the game. Thank you for the subscription. Welcome. Hope you enjoy those emotes. Hope you're having a good day. Want to talk theology and gamer nerd stuff with some people outside of the church? You can only find people who know something about one of those and know nothing about the other. Well, you're in the right place, I think, to talk to people who know stuff about both here. But I feel you about that, just kind of in the outside, the normal world. Yes, put the thing in. What does the torch open? Working and lurking. Hey, I'm having a good day. I hope you are too. Why do I feel like I'm about to uncover some terrifying secret? It's a pyramid of saws. That's just perfectly normal. Saws, harp, fire. Okay, these are objects that I should be finding. that I should be finding. I wonder if direction matters there. We just came in from a totally different side. Anyway, Rotata. Today's readings. There's a really interesting little phrase that caught my attention in the first reading, where when Paul is in prison, it says, the Lord stood by him. And there's no fanfare. There's no, like, grandiose appearance, no angels, no explanation. It was just the Lord was there. And I find that really interesting, considering, especially in comparison to Paul's conversion. But it is a good reminder, and I think of an important one that the gospel speaks of, is that desire of Christ for us to remain in him and for him to stay with us in love, to remain in his love. So. Yeah, I don't know anything about St. Boniface and a Christmas tree. Hello? Yes? I want to take the traffic quopter. How does the thing of St. Paul in prison compare to the three youths in Babylon and the appearance of Christ there? Ooh. That's a really cool, comparison I hadn't thought of. Yeah, just because there's the fourth person in the prison, or in the fire. Is there any similarity between these tool sigils that helps give it away? Not really. Well, I'll have to look into it sometime, but can't know it all. Something. Will you look for it? Maybe like a piece of jewelry? Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is like jewelry or crown. The names of three men: Radshak, Meshach, and Abednego. Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael. Oh, that. Okay, yeah, no, I thought he turned it into an altar. Okay, so that's definitely not water. That's gazebo. Rakshak and Benny. Okay, so those sigils we were seeing underneath aren't... It wasn't telling me about water. It was telling me what I was underneath. They're calling it the Agora. That's interesting. Chad, Brad, and Thad. Your child, Thadric. It's interesting they went with Agora. Probably most known in English for the word agoraphobia, fear of open places. But in Greek, it refers to the market. So I guess if we know where we're going to find ourselves underneath this agora, that's where we'll find her crown. No, Santiago, I actually do not like the Tridentine Mass. I think the Novus Ordo is entirely appropriate and should be celebrated, and is the norm that the Church asks of us. No, Byzantine should not fall into the fold because Byzantine is a different liturgical tradition. It's not the same to compare the extraordinary form to the Byzantine tradition versus the ordinary form because the extraordinary form is a particular way of doing the what was I saying? Doing the Latin form, whereas the Byzantine rite is the normative rite of the Byzantines. So for them to fall into the fold is to follow their own rite, which is what they do with the Divine Liturgy of John Chrysostom. When did I get a compass? Literally just now. So whatever I was looking at. What? Is that not north? No, that has to be because that was what we saw with the fancy symbols. Need to look at this compass again. Oh, okay. I get it. I get it. I get it. I really wish I could open up my journal right there, but... So what I had marked as east is actually south. And that's east, so that's west. Arguably, the insistence by certain communities of wanting standardized liturgy based around an idealized parish in the 1950s is more modernist than anything they object to. That's an interesting take. Oh, what did you do for graduate school, Brayherd? I just randomly guessed, saw correctly. We'll take it. And apparently that is the halfway point of the game. What do I think about the Neo-Catechumenal Way? I think they have a place. I went to seminary with some of them. It's honestly not a spiritual tradition I know a ton about, so it's not one that I can give a ton of weight to. So I I think theologically, I think its position is still being figured out because it's not an order, and it's not a personal prelature. So, sort of ecclesiologically, it's in a unique category, and I think it's kind of living into that as best it can. Um, you did historic preservation. Ah, can wait to hear back on something else. Okay, well, I hope that goes well. Let's see if we can find the theater. Because maybe if we find the theater, we have the comedy tragedy masks, so maybe that means play. Because we already have the word for theater here. Oh yeah, we have all these monkeys. I'm not seeking. I am chosen. It's the only church you can go to. Hey, you know, sometimes that is the way it goes, and I hope that you are fed there. I know you're going through the catechumenal process. You've said in other chats. I don't want to give the monkey. Like, I want to give the monkey a compass. I need to find the fruit to give a monkey, I think. Oh, I need to return this compass. What am I doing? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, random person. I have your compass that you lost and you wanted back. Well, you got to where you needed to be when you needed to get there. Jail for father for 1,000 years. I know. I'm terrible. They're gone. But I came to return your thing. Fine. So this monkey has fruit. The warrior fights. The warrior dies? Is that what that's supposed to be? Oh boy, we're going on an adventure within an adventure.
Huh.
This not even feels important. Maybe it's love? I sound like an Englishman and an American at the same time. That would track. part of my mom's side of the family is English, and so I think some of those
Oh.
tonalities kind of kept in. Maybe he's a legal alien. Well, feels that way sometimes, but no, I was born and raised in America. Are you a warrior? So L squiggle is hello, I'm guessing. Hello, are you a warrior?
Oh.
You don't look like a warrior. You're not a warrior. Your guess was California. Close, Utah. I'm not sure what else they're saying. Utah's not bad. It's a beautiful state. I do prefer living in New York now, though. Not gonna lie.
Hey.
Hello. We are the well, maybe not chosen, but maybe barred. It's weird, but mostly good. It has its downsides, but it has some nice upsides. The diamond feels really important. We are something. That explains the specifically English ancestry? Wrong, actually. My mom's side of the family didn't move to Utah until college. Until she was in college. Maybe that's like scare or act. Could that be act? You know, I'm gonna call this one beautiful. Like the beautiful ones. Given that what's going on here. Oh. Oh, this is important. This is musician. And this one is actor. So what if we put actor there? Put musician there. I feel like we're making progress at least. Oh, hey, fruit. Fruit for the monkeys. Hello. Oh. We are musicians. Are you a craftsman? Do I know what that's squiggly eight? No, it's this. What would that have to do with a question like that? Oh, hello. Musician. Hello? No? Okay, so not that. Is it listed to do the sign of the cross the same way that Latin Americans and Spaniards do? I mean, yes, on the general principle of it, but I'm now trying to think how they do it differently. Like where they kiss their thumb at the end of it? Is that what you mean? Like in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen? Like that? Because otherwise, I don't know of a particular way. They make the cross with the thumb, then cross themselves and kiss the cross. Yep. No, it just sounds like a perfectly valid pious devotion. What I've seen here sometimes is actually uh, members of our Hispanic community will, when leaving, they'll use the holy water. They'll trace the sign of the cross on their forehead, on the back of their neck, and then do the sign of the cross. Monkey, have this fruit. I'm not seeking. Okay, well, yep. But we already know that. I find the beautiful. I become a bard, or I become inspired. Okay. So we have those words. And now we're out of fruit for other monkeys. Can I just keep going back to that same tree, though? That'd be really handy. No, I can't just keep going back to that same tree. That would be too easy, game. You need to find one more fruit for a monkey. One of the downsides of modern technology is that we're losing a lot of unique customs that make local and regional distinct from each other. It is that reality of like sort of it levels the playing field, especially linguistically, which has its benefits but also does have its drawbacks. A thing I keep going back to, though, is both a source of personal challenge and inspiration and hope, is there's a great speech made by Charlie Chaplin in his movie The Great Dictator, and in it, and this is made in the 1930s, and he says something to the effect of, technology like the radio and the aeroplane have brought us closer together, but have also driven us farther apart. This is nearly 100 years ago now that this speech was given, and is still very true today, and yet also we have lived in that last 100 years and found hope and found goodness. So Santiago, I will be celebrating 5 years of priesthood Saturday, so I suppose 4 years and 363 days, give or take a couple hours. Thank you. It's actually going to be a lot of fun on Saturday because my community's having an ordination for two of our guys to the priesthood. Hey! Larium? I am so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm just going to call you Lair. Welcome, Lair! Path to Agora. Okay, yep. Path to theater. Path up. In some ways, it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's both unfortunate and also fortunate, because I will say there are people who have, through internet communities, made friends in meaningful ways that they never would have had in person, and have been able to find themselves less lonely in the midst of that. So, it's kind of a both and. Yes, Lesler, I think this is a great game. I have been thoroughly enjoying it. It's very puzzling. I'm very lost right now. These these sewer systems are very lost, are very confusing. But as I was saying, Saturday is my anniversary, and we're having an ordination for two of our brothers to the priesthood. And what's great about it is not only is it the same day that I get to share with them, they are being ordained by Cardinal Dolan, who also ordained me. So it's kind of just, it's a weird flashback in some ways. See where this connects to. Nope, there we go. Okay, path to Agora. Don't really want to go to the Agora right now. Apparently I'm going to the Agora anyway. Okay, that all loops around. Path up. Yeah, let's take the path up. Path to Windmill. Path up. Path to Agora. Actually, what's this? Isn't this where we started? Like I'm going in circles. So I belong to the Paulist Fathers. Our official name is the Society of St. Paul the Apostle. We were founded in 1858 in New York City by servant of God Isaac Hecker. Our mission is to evangelize North America, especially through means of modern technology. Ooh, look at this. There's an uprising. They want to be free. So freedom. Okay. Not all is well in the tower with the bards. Opus Dei is really big in Finland. Cool. I've never really had a chance to meet many Opus Dei. Like, I think I've only ever met one guy. He was a layperson who was a member of Opus Dei. Is Bishop Raimo the Bishop of Finland? Let's get out of the sewers. Let's get back up above ground. Here in Ulu, we have nuns from the same situation. Oh, yes. I can't remember the name of that community. They do really good stuff. They are very hardworking women. Yep. Technology did serve to both connect and disconnect during COVID. I mean, even during this is, a boon of technology. I am so lost. You don't like Jesuits much? That's okay. You don't have to. It's a big church, and there's room for lots of people. Lost look to the light. Problem is there's a lot of light here. Okay, yeah, we solved that. Brother Console Magno. Yeah, he is a cool dude. Rivers of honey has to be eaten. Well, I think that's certainly the implication it's trying to create here. Coolest Jesuit is Pope Francis. It's valid. You were worried it might be another yellow liquid. Yeah, it certainly does have a look. Excuse me, is this Flappy Bird? Did you put Flappy Bird in my game? This I was not prepared for Flappy Bird. It's teaching me up, so at least there's that. Like, it's teaching me that sigil. But I wonder, there is the thing on the top that looks like a progress bar. I wonder if I get something for completing this. Like some extra information. That would be actually very helpful. Robot Unicorn attack. Always I want to be with you and make believe with you and live in harmony, harmony, whole. I got a coin. To the theater you go. Hello, goodbye. So I want a coin to the theater. I Flappy Bird so well. Now where is the theater? That's the windmill. Oh, you know what? That where we were blocked off earlier, and they're like, "Oh, you can't enter." That's the theater, I bet. You want to go up? You must be something. So now I just have to figure out how I get there again. You know what I bet that H is? I bet that H is have. Or yeah, have. Like possess. Brayherd has redeemed a father joke. You know, I don't think enough people know the benefits about sun-dried grapes enough. I'm out here raising awareness. What are we up to? It's all good. It's all good, Sep-Zero. I hope all's well at work. Hope you're doing all right. We are still working our way through the bards. We've solved apparently half the words of the game. And we Flappy Bird. We played, I kid you not, we played Flappy Bird. And we got a theater ticket. what's he saying in that last glyph? Maybe this is watch? You want to watch an actor?
Yeah.
Is it true that in the 1400s, before the Spanish arrived, it meant something completely different? If you were in Mexico City, you heard a priest say, "Let us lift up our hearts." Yeah, just a little bit.
Whoa!
We want to go up. Well, I'll take the stairs. Oh, we get a show.
Oh!
The bard seeks the path.
Oh!
He found the saw. West he went. I feel like this is supposed to teach me words if I didn't already have them figured out. Wait, now he's a craftsman?
Oh!
Found the key. East he went. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh!
Sword he found. Well, that's...
Oh!
Path forward, bard.
Oh!
They just threw a lot of words at me and gave me the clues to how to get through the other thingamajig. And I have to rewatch it. And take notes.
Oh!
Still don't know what that Z thing is.
Oh! Oh!
Saw. Wait, no. Instruments.
Oh!
Fire.
Oh!
Compass.
Oh!
Sword.
Oh!
So I'm taking the notes on a post-it note.
Oh!
And now I need to write down their directions. Normally in things like this, they let you review like the entire conversation in your journal, but not here. One more time. You don't have a notebook at hand? I mean, the game basically gives you a notebook.
Oh!
Hello, Meep. Help us solve these puzzles.
Oh!
Saw west. So what I thought previously was craftsman is in fact is just instrument. Well, yes, this game does, but I mean in general, it's your office. How do you not have a notebook? Because my notebook is up. Well, went north.
Oh.
I tend to actually keep my notebooks elsewhere. I take most of my notes digitally these days. So this is fire. So I don't know what dice is. How do I send you a postcard? I mean, you can find my address online if you go to the Paul's Father's website. So it's... why don't you join the Discord, though? Do !Discord, and if you want to send something, maybe we'll figure out sharing an address there.
Oh.
Sword west. So west, north, east, south, west.
Oh.
Use Telegram rather than Discord. I'm afraid I don't have Telegram. It may be free, and so is Discord, but there's only so much I can have bandwidth for. Oh, hello, we can go backstage. Oh! I didn't have to keep rewatching that! Here's the script! Okay, well, we have all their words now. We just don't know what they all mean. Maybe this one's actor, given its proximity to where we are and what it is. Okay, so we know that's hello, at least. I don't know what that bottom left one is supposed to be depicting right now. You like St. Thomas More? St. Thomas More is a cool dude. And they gave me the notes to take with me. Oh, where's that happy? Because I think that means friends, actually. Scare. Oh, that's book. That's book. Brother, okay. So this one is actor there. Okay. Oh, hey, we found another one of these. We haven't found one of these in a while. Sitting in the tire shop. Well, I hope you brought headphones. Or you're just sharing this audio with everyone in the tire shop. Oh, I salute them. I don't know enough. Subject, I remember this being subject, object, verb. Um, so me, person. Hello? Nope, that's not it. Okay. Oh, okay, so that's the underside of that. Yeah, because this would make sense, because when they're like brother plural, we are brothers. So that makes more sense than happy. I don't think that's watch. You know what? I bet that's love. That's got to be love. Because I love my brother. Yeah, give the compass back. No, they disappeared. Also, I don't think you should be sticking compasses in your ear. Yeah, Moobot doesn't like too long messages. Is that from Thomas Beckett's final words? Let's see. You want to go up? Yeah, so this is actually where we want to go, because... okay. Oh, this is disorienting. Okay, so to go west right now is to go this way. So when he found the instrument, he went north. Yeah, so you cannot accidentally work your way through this. Well, you could, but it would be unlikely. So if that way is north, that way is east. Now the compass went south, so that's to the right. And sword to the west. Aha! That's ominous. Why are there bones? Why are there human bones? What was that? When did this become a horror game? What is that thing? This is not okay. Oh. It can't come into the light, so that's... Stay away! Stay away! I wish West was normalized as a direction. Cue the Scooby-Doo music. It sure feels that way. This is the first time we've managed to get into a new area where we didn't have to solve the current language completely. Oh, that was unfair. That was cheating. thought I was looking another direction. You should avoid that gentleman next time. That's what I've been doing wrong. What? He was looking one way, and then it was just like, but what if he just turned suddenly? I think we should normalize carrying around a globe for directions. Why did I do that? That just led me in a circle. Oh no. Oh no, there's a trap. That would be a trap. There's a handle over there that I need to get to open up the door on the right. Ooh. This game is tricksy. Trixie Hobbits' games. It's a trap. Yes, more movie quotes. Because that's what stream was missing. Donk. Quick, pull the lever. That backfired. Oh, hey, it restarts me over here at least. Quick, get into the light. After this, probably more, Spiritfarer, actually. Maybe returning to that. Hey, Britt. No. The handle. No! I figured out. I solved your puzzle. Game gave me a heart attack. That's how it's going, Britt. Oh, we've got a new language. They all look like keys. Gosh, I didn't have a heart attack. Yeah, so am I. Reminds you of cuneiform. I could see that. Interesting. You're seeking found we have. Oh, interesting. So we now are into the Seekers. Oh, that would explain. We saw these people earlier on these screens. And we didn't know their language at all, so it didn't even show up. Yeah, look at that. We're working our way up the tower. Yeah, this game is sort of a metaphorical reverse Tower of Babylon. Like it draws a lot of its imagery very strongly from the various artistic representation of the Tower of Babylon. Or Tower of Babel, I should say. Tower of Babel. I'm doing pretty well. Just getting ready for the ordination on Saturday. Tires all swapped. You hope to keep your bumper. Well, that's good, because last time I drove that car, the bumper fell off. Oh, this is a counting system. 1, 2. Two. Triangle for 3 because 3 sides. Yep. I'm guessing this one's 4. Yep. Because I was figuring 5 was going to be the more completely rounded one. The Lord of Spirits podcast has talked about the Tower of Babel as sort of telling of the Bronze Age's collapse. Oh yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, I need to check that out. I need to check that podcast out sometime. Apparently the script here is meant to represent that of Ptolemaic Egypt. So later forms of hieroglyphics. That makes sense, actually, given its design. It does actually have a passing resemblance to like what would become Coptic in some ways. Yeah, the whole world can be seen as a new Babylon, and yet also we can look at the world with joy, knowing that Christ is always in it, and we can find that presence and elevate it. And share and challenge the world when in other places too. Yeah, the ordination should be nice. It's 2 of my Paulus brothers. Always Tower of Babel as an explanation for the origin of languages. An origin story? Okay. I'm very confused now. Because this language was looking so simple, and then they threw this All these circles. Etiological myth. Huh, that's a fancy word. So all of these are rooms, it looks like. So it's kind of a map, I'm guessing. Oh, yes. Squiggle day to you too, sir. Squiggle, squiggle. I think that's a microscope. I think you might be right. These are just fighting moves. You're not wrong, and I hate it. This really is just fighting game moves. Quarter circle back, my dudes. So I'm gonna guess science room becomes laboratory. This is gonna be a much more complicated language. So science level 1, science 2. Hello, my squiggle scientists. How do you do? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know, you're totally right. Yeah, yep, mm-hmm. I have no idea what's going on. Quick, I need to find some sort of Rosetta Stone. Ah, you've reached science, TM. Hello, map hack. We had religious pilgrims, the fighters, the poets, and now a kingdom of mad scientists. Well, none of these combinations are correct, apparently. Which, oh wow, look at those. Okay, so I think the second symbol in all of these is a number. Would you like a hint on fighting the Rosetta Stone? No, I'm still good for looking around. We just got here. But if you look at the way these, the vertical symbol is on the right of each of these, I think that's a number. I don't know what the like F looking thing is, but so like top row, middle, right next to the triangle. It looks like there's 1, 2, 4, 1, so maybe that's 1,241 or something thereof. Now I know how Junie feels when we were playing. Probably, but oh, it's codes. It's number. Oh, interesting, interesting, interesting. 2, 3, 4. No spoilers for me. Don't worry. You've already done this bit. Okay, so this would make sense to be 0. Hey, look, they're a very advanced civilization. They have the concept of 0. So, oh, Santiago has redeemed timeout. Step 0 or Gale, you want to give him that timeout? I hope he has a good little break. So that's 9 and that's 10. Meep. Meep is here. Meep is vibing, solving the puzzles. It's interesting that they have a 10. Because that... implies Meep loves math. Meep does love math. Well, no, well, Meep has no thoughts in those heads. The reason why classical Greek mathematics don't have a zero is because all their stuff is based in geometry and not algebra. That is fair. Also, I was right about these symbols, that it is somehow a mathematical representation of a combination of everything. So if we just set all these to 1, so it's 8. Isn't Pentecost also a reversal of the Tower of Babel? It is. So 8. So this is 4 2s to make 8. So it's a addition is what it is. Which means, interestingly enough, that there are already 2 different ways to write 8. Oh, did I miss 6? I think I missed 6. Okay. So that's 6. That's 7. That's 8. That's 9. Okay, so it is a base 10 counting system still. I got thrown off there. I must have misentered 1. Because I was like, wow, that's weird to have a... Oh, look, it's a ruler. Okay, so... Ah! Look. Yeah, 10 is just 1, but reversed in the lower left quadrant. How much does word order differ between languages? A lot. The first 2 are more or less the same. They kind of have a few variations. The bards, it was subject, object, verb. And then they use the knots and the question marks at each end of the sentence. And I don't know what to do yet with this because I haven't encountered enough of it. One of these is fire. One of these is monster. I don't know which. Science. So one of these is monster and one of these is fire. That's about all I know. The atomic model there worries you. You know. That's fair. Oh, I'm going to need a light bulb or something, or a candle. I'm not going in there, not if there's some spooky monster. It's not the way I want to go. Oh, that loops me back there. Okay. This is such a good video game. I know the atomic model usually means atomic and radioactive weirdness. You know. The plan to... I would love to watch like a behind the scenes on this. That'd be really cool. And a kid has redeemed a father joke. Oh, look at the clock. Their clock has food times on it. Very, very distinctly. Like, this is when we get food, dang it. So I was recently trying to put together a trip to go to Egypt, but all fell through and I lost a lot of money. I'm beginning to think it was just a pyramid scheme. Food. Food something for. What if they only have second breakfast for all their meals, though? And it's just breakfast repeatedly. It's breakfast. Something 7 should be 9. The Ungon breakfast. Breakfast for all meals. I'm okay with this. 7, 8, 9. I think this T-bar with a little circle on the top might be I, but I'm not positive. Okay, so we are on the second floor, so that tracks. And we went by way of science room. 2 times breakfast to the nth. I'd eat that. Ah, the library room. Please do not encourage the hobbits with algebra. I don't know. I think I want to see where that goes. Okay, yes. Thingamajig. Then thingamajig. Then other thingamajig. Then last thingamajig. Can I write that down? No? Okay. What potato harvest is required to avoid societal collapse? Most of them? I think we saw this, no? Like, I get that this is a lighter, but I don't... Something book. Yes, there's one ring in there. Well, gonna half lurk while you get some work done. Cool article. You get to write. Apparently, there's a movie about the Eucharist coming out in June. Yeah, I've seen that pop up on my Twitter feed. I don't know anything about it. You interviewed a famous sister, and a man. Nice. Oh, I'm glad that was a good interview. Skull and an X. That looks promising. I see no way this could go poorly. Sister Brige. The healing nun. Huh, cool. I don't know why they put all those warning signs on that. That wasn't dangerous. Now that looks like danger. Do 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 do. Why do you have giant rock crushing machines? Oh, I got clear of that. I could have left clear. That'd have been fine. Why do I have the rock crushers to crush giant rocks? Okay, fair. Yeah, what was I thinking? Why are they needing to crush giant rock scale? There was a warning sign. Well, yeah, but we don't know what it says. We can't read this language. Oh no, this was the... One. I don't have anything to put in there. We need something to put in there. Ooh, hello. So triangle with a circle. Oh, Twitch. Deciding just the weirdest things sometimes on auto mod. Let's stick this gold bar in the machine and see what happens. You're getting violent. Yeah, because when I think Catholic Brit, I think violent. Oh, I can't put... It doesn't want me to put that in there. It's not an acceptable material. Punch cards? They're programming in Fortran? Yeah, she should be in my Discord, I think. If not, you can send it to me and I can make sure she gets it. But can they run Doom? The doom of opening this door. Where am I? I'm back on the first floor. Can you punch card machine run Crisis? Ooh. I don't know if my rig could run Crisis, and it was a good rig well after Crisis came out. So I think this left symbol is like smelt or make, because it showed up next to the gold as well. Now, has anyone here ever actually played Crisis, or is it just the universal test your gaming rig? Why is there a cow here? I just heard a cow go moo. There it is. Oh, dear. My friend, that's not... You have played it. Yeah, I had a roommate in college who played it, well, played it constantly, just testing settings on his PC. What did I just get? I got the firelighter thingy. I bet I could go back to that one spot with the one thing, because I'm being specific here. Where there was the, like, dark room. Crisis can run on Steam Deck. Turns out it was just sloppy code. Oh, that's sad. No, it's more library. We'll come back. We don't need to go through the nerd stuff right now. I want to find the candle. Because there's that, like, dark room that I could go to, and it was like, oh, danger, monster. Here's another one of those weird doors. What is with these weird doors? I like the house designs here. I love this building design. I don't want to do that nerd stuff right now. I want to play video games. Uh-oh, this looks like a scale puzzle. What did I just do? Well, I just cast something. Wait a minute. That's just the symbol of the Imperium of Man. Any chance the square on the floor translates to rug? I mean, in this game, possibly. Wouldn't you want to have a rug that's just labeled as rug? Right? A rug that says rug is amazing. It's like how I have a t-shirt that just says shirt. Didn't I figure out what food or fire might have been? I don't know. Science 3. Uh-oh. Oh, this is a door code. Uh 420 didn't work. We're leaving. Guess I'm taking this lantern with me. Just press until someone else needs the door and watch what they press. I suppose that is an answer. Oh boy, food. Oh boy, food. Okay. Food place. Science place. Where's book? Book place. I don't know what mine is. Unless maybe that's what I thought smelter was. That would make sense. Nope. What are we having for food today? Oh, food. I like that they have labeled everything when it comes to the materials it's made of. Well, I'll be melting these down. No, food. See, I think this symbol means to make. Well, they are mad scientists. Don't want to mix up the food knife and the experimental knife. Yeah, that's just good food safety. You know? I need to go back and rewatch this guy's... The guy's who was pinned by the, by the thingamajig. Nope, that was not the right combination. That is not the magic key to open the magic door. Yes. Yeah, you lick the food knife before using for experiments. Yeah, you don't want to cross-contaminate anything. Interesting. Maybe meeting room? Looks like one of the scientists and one of the bards is having a... Because look here, the scientists and the musicians went in opposite directions, but here... Oh... What if they had a little romantic thing? Have we rotated? We have. We have, in fact, rotated. Ah, good. You've arrived at redacted. I have arrived at redacted. But anyway. Potato, potato. Anyway, in the first reading, there's this really curious line where it says that the Lord stood by Paul in prison. No, there's no fanfare about it. It's just Christ was there. And I find that really interesting. Science in a number. But just a reminder of the way that Christ is with us and doesn't necessarily take away our struggles, but sometimes it's just saying, yeah, I'm with you in them. Oh, that looks like chemistry. I'm bad at chemistry. We're making good progress, though, if we found both of these telescreens. Warriors and... Where am I looking for? I thought I had warrior. There we go. Warrior, plural. Did I ever actually figure out what music is? I don't think I ever actually figured out what music is. Yeah, so we still have some work on the bard side of things to do. Okay. Vocals or instrument sounds or both combined in such a way to produce beauty, form, harmony, and expression of emotion. By golly, we've got it! That's what we were missing! This explains why all I've been listening to is ska! I know K-Max likes ska. We've actually, we've talked a bit about it on his stream sometime. That's why there was a random ska question at the Game of Faves beach episode. And now there's just that random clip of me just like going very into detail of the history of ska. Skip it bop. Ooh, Rosetta Stone. Wait, and another one of these? That means that we found 3 on this level. Yeah, look at that. Wow. So there's only one of these left. You figured the minecart. I just walked up to the minecart and I pressed button. Warriors don't something. Ah. So I'm guessing that this circle is not in fact room, but is in fact plural. Which would make sense because books would make the library. Probably make this not. And make... Where is it? Oh, where's that sigil? What? No, I thought I'd say that's plural. Apparently I didn't. I am blind. I am not seeing this. There it is. No? Kind of wish they had words you could sign for symbols over them so you could read them, find the ones you wanted. Yeah. Homstawanya. I hope that is a sufficient answer. Everybody. Everybody. Yeah, it's still being published, but not with like the same regularity it used to. Something unreadable plants. Huh. Not quite sure what that's supposed to mean. I'm maybe thinking devotee because it involves plants. It is a sufficient answer. It is as it is written. Plant. Oh, that's duh. Sometimes I overthink things. So L squiggly back up. Where's my L squiggle? There it is. Imagine overthinking things. Couldn't be me. No, never map hack. It is interesting that all of these sigils, all these languages have a symbol or a doubling of a symbol for plural and not just an add-on. I suppose the Bardic language gets close to having a just an attack on. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking. Oh, where is it? That this is me, or the first person singular pronoun. I'm gonna guess circle here is help. What do I have over there right now? I have that symbol. Make. So I'm gonna guess that. Yeah. This is help. So it's you help me. So, okay, so this symbol here that I had for make previously, where did it go? Or not make. Interesting. Is that a statement on my deduction, or is that a subtle hint saying I'm wrong? Cannot say anything more. Anyway, this I'm guessing is actually not smelt, but mine. Still, the fact that we did get all of the words. I mean, we started with most of the words here of the bards today. But we got all the words of the scientists. We just need to figure out how to, smush them together. Would you like a hint, Junie, that really helped me solve the languages in general? I'm good for now. Plus, we're about to sign off anyway, so I probably won't remember it. But I feel like we made good progress today. Do I know enough words to understand what they're saying? Me, scientist. Me, help you. Okay, well, I think we're on the right track, but maybe it could be me, you help. So I think taking that elevator is a great place to call it for the day. So thanks so much to everyone for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. Join us again, not Monday, but a week from Monday. I'm taking next week off because I am going on retreat with all my fellow Paulist brothers. We're going out to the Jersey Shore. There's a great Redemptorist retreat house out there. Should be a lot of fun. I'll be praying for all of you. Please keep my brothers Dan and Chris in your prayers. They're ordained to the priesthood on Saturday. It'll be very exciting. You can actually watch that online. You can see me in action as MC at that, so that'll be fun. But yeah, so not next week, but the week after, we'll be back with more Knights of the Old Republic, Magic the Gathering Chandalar, and more Chants of Sennaar. So hope to see y'all there. Thanks so much to everyone for liking, following, subscribing, all that good jazz. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. And what does the Cardinal call the new men? Father? I'm going to comment loom. I look forward to meeting you in person one day so I can really get some context on the looming here. And called me something different? Yes, Cardinal Dolan called me Ethan, not Evan. But, it's all good. He means well. He meets lots of people. And he wasn't that far off. I mean, So, anyway, I hope everyone has a great rest of their weekend, or a great rest of their weekend and a good weekend. Why don't we see who's live to raid? I'm going to send you over to P. Tony because he's doing Factorio, and that is my latest addiction. I love that game. I have spent so much time on that. Anyway, hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Take care. Oh, I'm losing my mouse. God bless. Bye.